hardly ever go to Miami Beach, but I went with a friend who had some business on Lincoln Road. I looked across the street and saw a small cafe and realized that that cafe was once the Northeast Airlines ticket office, where I worked for 8 years in the late 50s. There it was, right on Collins Avenue and Lincoln Road, where all Jews passed through on their way to heaven. It was there I met Ben and Sadie. That December was one of the hottest on record. I entered my air-conditioned office through the back entrance at 8:30 for a 9 a.m. shift. I noticed an elderly couple waiting at the front door, a man peering through the glass to see if anyone had arrived. He wore a baggy black suit and yarmulke. She was dressed in a long black dress with a green hat and matching pocketbook. Both were standing in the baking sun. It took 2 minutes to open the safe, arrange my desk, and get ready for the rush. I glanced and began to see the two in black, their hands cupped over their brows, peering through the glass. I walked over and unlocked the door. "Good morning, please come in. It's too hot out there." "Thank you, darling," said the woman with a broad smile. She leaned on her cane and shuffled into the office, her partner trailing behind. They sat down in front of my desk. With a whoosh, they collapsed into the leather chairs. I finished my preparations, checked my phone lines, and I looked up. "Ben," she said. Look how professional she is. Ben have smiled. "Of course, you think anybody can do this?" "You're very kind. Now what can I do for you today?" I said. She looked to her left and said, "My husband will take care of the details. I'll just sit here very quiet." She waited a moment. "Ben, say something." She nudged his arm. He adjusted his jacket, wiped his forehead with his hanky. "We are Ben and Sadie Gitzel. Gittsell. Sadie poked him again on his right arm with her cane. "Tell the girl what you want already." "Okay, Sadie, just a minute. She's got to know their names." "Shh." I wrote their names on a pad and looked up again. "Where are you interested in flying?" I asked. "Well, where I'm interested in flying and where I gotta go are two different things." "What, you're a comedian now?" she said. She jabbed him again in his arm. His smile diminished. He rubbed his arm and he continued. "We need 2 tickets to Williamsburg, Brooklyn." I grinned back at him. "Mr. Gitzel, we don't fly into Brooklyn. But we do go to LaGuardia or Idlewild Airport. Which one did you use when you flew to Miami?" "Who flew?" said Sadie. "We took the train. Boy, so long a trip. And the seats still hot like cement. Me with my arthritis, Ben with his bladder, up and down and up and down and up and down again. Never again. Each time we fly, a few hours and poof, right there. Right, Ben?" Ben whispered, "You have to say something about my bladder. God forbid you can't sit there with the mouth closed." I interrupted. "I think LaGuardia would be closer to Brooklyn for you. Did you have a particular date in mind?" I handed him the calendar. "How much it cost?" he asked. "Well, Mr. Gitzel, we have 2 fairs during the week. We have a day fair and a night fair. And 2 different fairs on the weekends, a day and a night fair. Of course, the night fairs are less expensive." "Why?" "Well, that's a good question, Mr. Gitzel." "Call me Ben, please." He grinned. "I believe it's because most people want to arrive at their destination while it's still daylight." "Why?" Sadie punched his arm again. Why? You ask too many questions." "That's okay, Mrs. Gitzel." "Sadie, please," she said, adjusting her purse. "I know it seems a little confusing. I wrote down the fares and as I spoke, handed him the sheet of paper. Sadie plucked the paper from his grasp and studied the information. "We'll take the day," she announced. "By the day, the night is cheaper." "And who's going to pick us up?" "Marvin." "And what time does Marvin have to go to work in the morning?" "Would you do this to your son who works such long hours so we can come to Florida?" She hit him again with the cane in his arm. "We go in the daytime," she announced. Ben sat straight in his chair. No, we'll go on Friday night. He can sleep in the morning. Friday night, she gasped. After sundown? We can't do that. It would not be right. It's Shabbos. Sadie, I'm not working, I'm flying. But what about Marvin Shabbos? She argued, poking him in the arm. The office started filling with people. Okay, Sadie, we go home Saturday. We can't. Why not? It's the Sabbath. The women who were waiting and listening nodded in approval. You think God wants us to spend $50 more than we have to? The men nodded. Ben, do you think God cares about the money? She said, looking at the crowd. They all nodded. We'll go Sunday in the daytime, was her firm response. Sadie, I'm the man. I'm making the decisions. It's the man who say when and where and how much. He straightened his yarmulke and looked up at me. We'll go Sunday in the daytime. I called in the reservations, wrote up their tickets, and handed them to Ben. She snatched the tickets from his hand and shoved them into her purse. Are you married, dear? She said. No, I answered, not yet. She looked at me, then glanced at Ben, raising her eyebrows. Saul. That? Saul, this time nodding her head towards me, pinching his arm. He rolled his eyes. He's a put city. Why is it every time you see a pretty girl you bring up Saul? Stop it, Eddie. That nephew of yours is just a phony. Ben turned to me. Goodbye, darling. It's been a pleasure. I'd love to sit here all day and talk with such a lovely person like yourself. But I have an appointment at the doctor. Thank you, Mr. Gitzel. Ben? Yes, Ben. It was a pleasure to help you. Goodbye, Mrs. Gitzel. Sadie. And good luck at the doctor. It's nothing, darling. It's just my arm. It's been bothering me a lot lately.